Hey Sam, how you doing again?
Good,
um,
Bob.
hey, how would you assess KJ's season so far?
I think he's improved quite a bit. He's a better runner than what I thought he would be. He's an accurate thrower. I think he's had a good season to this point.
And his running, I've heard different people bring up Cam Newton. That's a pretty good guy to have to
Uh,
be mentioned with. What have you thought about his run? How physical he is? Those DBs, I imagine, don't seem to want to tackle him.
yeah, he's an aggressive, I guess what you'd call an aggressive runner. He wants to run over people, which is a little scary at your quarterback position, but um, I like his demeanor. I like how he's running the football team, um, and I like him running the football. I think it puts different pressure on defenses when you have a running quarterback. I've said that. That's part of the reason why I wanted to hire Kendall Browse. But um, yeah, I've been really pleased with him, Bob.
Thanks.
Dudley.
Coach, the NCAA Division I Council this week passed a deal where you could get up to 7 additional scholarships if they start, if people transfer out of your program to somewhere else. Can you give me your thoughts on that and how you think that might help balance things out with the way the portal has just been kind of wild?
Well, I think you have to have something like that because I think there'll be a lot of programs that are, having more go out. And if you keep maximizing at 25, you're going to be at 70 before you know it, down the road. And then they're going to fire you. And then the new guy's going to come in. He has 68 guys on scholarship, and then they're going to fire that guy. You could never catch up. Currently with us, we're not in that situation. We're actually have a lot. We have 85, and we don't have very many seniors. So I'm sure, it'll benefit most every program. I don't know how much it'll benefit us this year, but down the road, it certainly will whenever you have more portal transfers and more seniors. I think it's a good rule. I think it'll try to keep the playing field even. You'd hate to see one program with 70 scholarship players, another with 85. I think this is the NCAA's way of trying to keep it balanced as much as possible.
I know you've talked about wanting to build with high school kids and all that, but just talk about how important portal guys can be to getting you over the top, such as the 3 defensive guys that you got this year.
Yeah, I think so. You can look at our team. You can look at Ole Miss's team because, they've got one of their best linebackers is a transfer, and obviously Otis Reese in the back end was over there at Georgia when I was there, and basically you go after needs. I think a little bit, Dudley, and it's just my opinion, doesn't make me right, but I think a little bit of this has probably, if it's hurt anybody, it's probably hurt junior colleges, because normally when you're going in there and trying to get that veteran, that quick fix, you go to junior colleges. It had to hurt them some. Now, obviously, us and everybody else is going to, that elects to go that route is still going to recruit JC kids, but I think it might have hurt them with the portal more than anybody.
Tom.
Sam, seems like Nathan Perotta's been pretty solid for you in the returns. You feel comfortable rolling with him, or would a guy like Brooks or Green or Rocket maybe get another chance?
Well, I think right now it's Perotta's job. He's done a really good job with it. And, we haven't really had on the punt returns, hey, look where you're going. Man, with a 10 flat kid or a 10-2 100-meter guy, we'd score a touchdown there. I think Perotta's doing a nice job of catching it and trying to steal first downs, return the ball. Number one, I really have a lot of trust in him back there. Punters are getting better nowadays, the hang time and the things of that nature. And I don't know how many returns people's had on us, not many. I think one of the first things that Coach Fisher said after the A&M game is that we took their punt returner completely out of the, he had no return yardage. Well, a bunch of that is because our punter put it in locations and had the hang time and with that. So you need a dynamic punt returner, but teams can take that person out of the game fairly easy. So right now, and I'm not saying Peroty's not a dynamic returner. I'm just saying right now I need somebody back there I can trust, and that if we can steal a first down on a return, that'd be really a big deal for us.
Okay, and I want to ask you about a position we haven't asked about a lot this year, tight end. What do you feel like you're getting at that spot? Is Hudson getting better and to the point that he might be able to help you more?
I hope so. He's got talent. He's been beat up all year, and it's just been a bad year to this point. Now, you're not even halfway through the season, so I anticipate that he'll come on. He's practiced, a little beat up this week. Hopefully he'll be ready by Saturday. But, we moved Trey Knox over there. I think Trey Knox could be a really good tight end for us if he can put on 25, 30 pounds, which I think he'll be able to do in the offseason. He's a willing blocker. He's got good leverage. He's really good with his hands. And of course, we know that he would be a fast tight end, and so we have those guys there. And of course, Bax has been a guy that's been consistent for us as well. But I like how Kern's playing. I think Coach Logan's doing a good job with him. I wanted all of them to be more physical, but they're working towards that. I've been pleased with the tight end group. I haven't caught a lot of balls, but I've been pleased with the way they've been blocking.
Hutch.
Yeah, Coach, I had another couple of questions about the guys you moved inside this week. When you recruited St. John out of high school and Crawford out of the portal, did you envision them as guards, or was it more of just bringing them in and seeing where they fit once you got them in the program?
Well, I think there's a lot to be said. To me, I like to start everybody that I think is fairly athletic at tackle. Once I found my center, I like to look, you need those guys that can handle space, and so you kind of look at all of them at tackle to begin with. Now, not everyone. I mean, I had a kid named Solomon Kinley over at Georgia, and he came in at 380, and he's 6'3", and I don't play tackle. It's I recruited and play guard. But if you recruit a guy solely to play inside, he better be good. I mean, you'd like to recruit centers and tackles, and then the ones that don't have the feet to handle all that space, you move them inside to guard. I just believe that we need a physical presence on our inside. I mean, we need some maulers is what we need. And I can remember we moved Skip and Kirkland inside. They were both tackles, and we're doing the same, and it worked out, and then we moved them back. We moved them back out to tackle when we needed them out there. So I just think we need some bigger kids on the field, and I know we've got 300 across there, but if it's 330, 350, that's even better if they can move. So I do like what's happened. We moved St. John over the right side because that's, he's the most ready to play. So we moved him over the right side and moved Ty Keast over the left side. They both had good practices. I don't know. I think St. John's a little ahead of Ty Keast as far as mentally over there, but we're going to continue to do that because I like the looks of it in there, at least from the 2 days of practice so far.
And then the other day, Cam missed his first field goal in college. I'm wondering how he's responded this week after that.
Well, he made them all yesterday. Guys gonna miss every now and then. I don't know what he is, 9 for 10 or something like that, on 10 for 11, whatever it may be. He's really good. For a freshman to come in. Last year we had tough time at times making extra points. So I'm really, really happy with him. I know we're going to miss a field goal every now and then, and that's what happened. But I'll tell you this, every single time I send him out there, I believe we're going to make it. And that doesn't become just from I'm a positive guy. That comes from he's making them in practice every single day.
Scotty.
Hey, Coach, there's a pretty intriguing set of receivers on both sides of this game Saturday. I'm curious for your thoughts on Ole Miss's receivers and maybe what makes them tough to prep
I really
for.
like Drummond. I mean, I like Levin. I mean, I think he's got a whole lot of talent. Sanders as well, 13. You know, the Jackson, Plumlee's. I haven't seen Plumlee quite as much as what I thought I would, you know, out there. But they have they remind me a little bit of the guys we have, you know. They can go catch contested balls, run really good routes. I think Corral, I'm not speaking for him, but I think he knows exactly where they're going to be. And they catch the ball exceptionally well and certainly can do something with it when they do. But I think they're really talented. I mean, you know, you can't throw the ball if you know, obviously have to protect it, but if you don't have great wideouts, and they certainly do. And got another part of that too is Ely and Parrish and those guys running the football. I mean, that play action that they do as well as we do, it freezes you. You can throw it right over the top of a linebacker's head because of their run game too. But they run really great routes and really, really explosive there at the receiver spot. I'm sure he's proud of them. I mean, they're really good players.
And kind of in that same vein, are you pleased with the progress that your guys at receiver have shown, you know, from week 1 to now?
I am. I mean, you know, it's hard to know what the coach's value is on a kid whenever you're not throwing the ball, you know, at times, you know, 30, 40 times, 50 times a game. You know, I mean, the value of blocking, the value of leadership, some of those things go into a wide receiver as well. But I'll say this, they're all bought in. They all can catch the ball. They all can get open. And they've all believed that however we win games is how, you know, what the coaches believe in and what we can get done on that day. Hence 300 some yards rushing against Texas and 300 some yards passing against Georgia Southern. So I'm pleased with the development there. We're going to have to recruit, you know, quite a few wideouts because we're depleted there a little bit number wise, and that may be a position that we would, you know, look for a JC or a portal guy as well in the future.
Nate.
Yeah, Sam, just given what happened to Arkansas and Ole Miss last week, is a fast start for this game even more paramount than usual?
Well, I think a fast start's important all the time, you know, especially with the way we play football. You know, the way we play football with a swarming defense and everybody knows we like to run the football and play action off of it. Obviously on the road, if you can start fast, you may have an opportunity to take the crowd off, you know, out of the game. But I think it's always important. This week, I think it would be very important as well. Again, we're on the road. Did not have a good game last week, so I think that would be something that would be very important for us. Not that we couldn't win a game or Ole Miss if either one of us started faster than the other. Somebody's going to start faster than the other, but I think it would be very, very beneficial for whomever that team might be.
Thank you.
Trey.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Trey.
I was curious with the running backs you guys have, how do you go into a game? Like, do you go into a game planning on this is how we're going to distribute carries, or do you go with a hot hand, or how do you decide?
The first half of that is carries and when we're going to get the guys in the game. And then the second half becomes on feel of who's playing well and things of that nature. But on our this week, Trey, it'll be Friday night meeting. We normally have it in the, you know, before chapel. But since we start so early, I won't get the coaches up that extra 45 minutes for that meeting in the morning. But so Friday night, we'll have that discussion, and I'll want to know, you know, with Jimmy, who he wants to start, what his plans are with carries in the first half. And, we may not run it as much. The distribution would be more off at percentages, you know what I mean, than, hey, I want to get him 8 carries. Well, what if the Reed won't give us 8 carries and we're throwing the football? So it's more about a feel in the second half and knowing when we're going to put them in the game in the first half.
And with Malik, I think every coach in the country would like to get their backup at some point in the game, if, especially if he has a different style. But how difficult is that? Like if you're maybe trying to find a rhythm, or if it's a close game, to actually pull the string on it when you're in a game, to give like Malik a carry in the middle of the game?
Honestly, very. I mean, just to be honest with you, I remember I had an old kid named Brian Van Acker when I was at Northern Illinois, and I kept telling him, hey, we're playing you this week, and I'm in it. And then all heck would be breaking loose, or we'd be rolling like you just said. And he played center. And I was like, oh my Lord, he touches the ball every snap, and how about the exchange and all that kind of stuff. And I think all those things go through your mind at the quarterback position as well, whether it's fair or not. It's what happens. And so I am very happy that Malik got in the game against Georgia. I think he needed that experience, that feeling of being out there in front of a big crowd on college game day. I think that helped him. And then the other games that he's had, I'll tell you this now, he's thrown the ball this week better than I've ever seen him since I've been here. So I think his confidence is going. But to answer your question, and I'll tell you what I did with Van Acker, I moved him to guard. And it was so much easier to put him in the game. And then eventually he was a starting center, all conference center, good player. But my point being is, those guys that handle the ball, it's harder to substitute than it is the ones that don't. And so, yes, it's a great question. If we're going well, you hate to, well, let's keep going well. And if we're not, you got to fix it. And there's a reason there's a starter. So, yeah, it's very, very difficult, even though I think he's earned through practice opportunities to play in games. It's hard, Trey.
Dudley.
You mentioned earlier in the year that you had 3 or 4 spots left in this 2022 class, and then obviously you put Warren Thompson on scholarship. Is that still the same, like 3 left in this 2022 class?
Well, right now, the numbers are, they're what's the word, fluid. I mean, it's I think anybody's this way, though, to be honest with you, Dudley. I mean, how many guys are going to go in the portal? How many COVID seniors, how many can you get back? How many, it's going to cost you a number this year where it didn't before. How many do you want back? I think there's so many areas of how many scholarships are you really going to have to fill out at 85 that I think you probably just keep recruiting for this class. And if you got a guy, you go, man, we just have to have I think we can develop this kid, but I'm talking about this is sure enough. I think you take him and then you just kind of figure it out, because I have no idea. We're going to ask several guys to come back that are seniors. We'll ask several of them to come back, and I don't know how many we'll get back. Sure helped our football team this year, so if we want them back, we're going to ask them to be in that 85, but it's just, I tell you, it's scary a little bit because you just don't know. What we're doing right now in our 2022 class, we're just recruiting like heck, and if we can get one that's we think is going to make a difference, we're going to take him and figure it out later. And that's the honest answer. I don't know how else to answer it.
Appreciate it.
Coach.
Yeah, Coach, I was going to follow up with something you told Tom earlier. I mean, I know you like Perotti at punt return. You also like him as a kickoff returner, or are you going to maybe try some other guys back there? I know you've tried several so far.
I like AJ Green back there. I like Day. And I'm not saying I don't like Perotti either. He's usually the off returner. We put him back there the other day because, in that atmosphere, and AJ's a freshman, and We thought he was ready for that. And I'm not making a mountain out of a molehill. I mean, he dropped a fair catch. But we thought helping him out as well and helping the team out, we, put a veteran back there and be able to, because they were kicking it so high that, like I said, I think I saw 7 or 8 guys inside the 25 when we caught the first kickoff. Well, that's not good. It is if you were Georgia, but it's not good for us. So we'd rather just take it on the 25 than the 15 or 16 where we got 17 where we got it out to. So no, I still believe in those guys we have back there. I think we were just trying to save AJ a little bit. You can ruin a young kid if you don't watch it, and you don't want to ruin his confidence. And so we didn't,
Tom,
What are the keys for you offensively when you're going up against a system that's so similar to yours?
Well, we had to stay on the field. I mean, you can't handcuff KB and say we can't run our offense and we have to take 40 seconds off the clock you can't do that. I mean, that's not what we do. Now, we certainly have proven we can do it against A&M late and against Texas and other teams, Georgia Southern, all those things. But we had to stay on the field on offense. We had to make first downs. We had to limit 3 and outs on offense. And I think, running the ball is going to be a big key in this game. And I'd like to, what would be interesting in the chess match between them and us on what they're going to do defensively if we're able to run the ball. If we're not, they're going to line up just like what you see us line up every week and just whip our butt, But if they're not able to do that, then it'll be interesting to see what their adjustments are. And I'm sure it'll be something off the edge in a blitz fashion.
Yeah, crazy question. You've liked what Bishop and Clark have done, kind of rotating around. But when a guy has 3 picks on somebody, do you play Clark more just because, just so Corral can see him?
I like that. I mean, you're thinking outside the box, man, which means I haven't. But I would assume you play your best, whoever's playing best, you start the starters. It's because Corral through 6, I'm pretty sure that Lane's going to play him the entire game. You know what I mean? So no, I really haven't thought about that, but that's good thinking now.
last one, Bob.
Sam, I remember during training camp, somebody, can't remember who, asked KJ about being patient. Like you brought Felipe in, obviously, and a lot of young guys, even young guys, they'll jump in the portal at quarterback, it seems like. And KJ said that was never a thought with him. I just wondered kind of what you remember about that process and how good that is to know that you got a guy that's committed, that isn't looking for an easy out.
I think two things about KJ. I think number one, that's just who he is. I mean, I think he's a competitor. I think that he stayed in, and he's in his mind go, hey, I'm going to get my chance if I just keep working. I love the way that he approached last season. The other reason is because of Felipe Franks. I mean, Felipe took him in like he was his older brother. And you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. And I credit where KJ is, obviously Coach Browse and KJ, but a lot of it to Felipe, because Felipe understood, I think, exactly where he was in his career. And it was like, hey, come on, follow me. I'm going to help you with this. And then when I walk out of here, you're going to be ready to play. Fortunately for KJ, it happened last year in the Missouri game, and he was ready. So, yes, I think that's a big deal. I think it just says a lot about who he is, how Coach Browse coaches him. But I really, I think a lot of it had to do with Felipe Franks.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Have a great week.